If you live in a place like I do that has a winter season, there's a good chance that your bike is going to spend about 5 months of the year sitting while you wait for all that snow to melt so you can go ride again. Today, I'm going to show you my top tips for how to winterize your bike so you can protect the bike you worked so hard to build. I'm Grease, you're watching Grease's Garage, and I'm going to help you skip the struggle. Step 1 to winterizing your bike is going to be to fill your gas tank. Now, this might seem strange to some of you because I know a lot of people recommend draining your gas tank before the winter season, but I don't really recommend you do that. The reason I don't recommend you do that is because when you drain the tank, you're leaving an open chamber for moisture to enter and for that exposed bare metal to rust. When you fill your tank with fresh gas, has to be fresh gas by the way, when you fill that tank, you are coating the entire inside of your mild steel gas tank so that no rust is able to form on that and no moisture is able to get in. So the first step to winterizing, and the first step I always do come this season, is to go to the gas station, pick up some fresh gas, and as you can see right here, just get a little tank so that you can quickly, easily add some fresh gas to your bike wherever it happens to be sitting and fill that tank all the way to the top. The next step for winterizing your bike is to add some fuel stabilizer to that fresh gas you just put in the tank. You can see right here I have a bottle of fuel stabilizer. I just picked this up from my local auto parts store. This bottle here was less than 10 bucks, so this is not an expensive bottle to buy. And according to the ratio on the back of this bottle, I only need half an ounce of this 8-ounce bottle to treat my very impractical gas tank. So as you can see here, I'm just using this little separate pouring chamber it's got here at the top of this bottle. It's actually kind of a neat bottle and a pretty easy way to portion out how much you need. And then I'm just pouring it in right here into my gas tank so that it can fill and mix with the gas that's in the tank. However, we are not done there. There is a second step to this process, and that is going to be to start and run the bike for a couple of minutes, because treating the gas tank is nice, but there's also untreated gas in your fuel line, in your carburetor, and in your motor. So you really want to circulate this stabilized fuel all the way through your system. If you were a smarter man than myself, you would have done this sooner, back when it was still riding season, so that you could actually take the bike out for a ride. That would be not only more fun, but also a better way to circulate the fuel through, because you're actually getting the bike up to speed, revving the motor, all that good stuff. But either way, whether you're idling it near your house or taking it for a spin, you need to circulate that fuel. Step 3 in this process is going to be to either remove or drain your carburetor. I realize this might seem unnecessary because in the last step, I had you circulate that stabilized fuel all the way through your bike. And I'll be honest, I don't have any science to prove that you absolutely need to do this. I've just always done it, and it's always been very easy for me to get my bike started come the spring, so I've just stuck with the habit. So you can take this one or leave it as you see fit. Now, some of you might choose to just completely remove the carburetor off the bike, stuff a rag in the intake manifold so nothing gets into those cylinders, and just be done with it. And I'll be honest with you, that was the approach that I used to take every winter. I would just remove the carb from the bike and put it someplace warm, like in the basement. However, now that I have this YouTube channel, I find myself having to start my bike all the time to try to demonstrate this or that or something, and it's just easier for me to run this channel by having the carburetor on the bike. So for me, I'm just going to use a 5/8 wrench. As you can see here, I have a Super E on this bike, and there is a 5/8 plug at the bottom of my float bowl that I'm showing you here, and you can see me removing this plug. The gas is draining out of the carburetor, and I'm just going to drain all the gas out and then put this plug back up into that drain plug hole. Quick side note, if you have a Super E on your bike, you can check out this video right here. I did a whole 101 guide to show you everything that's on the carburetor, where the jets are located, how to get the float bowl off, what the parts and pieces look like. And then if you have done that already, but you're looking to tune that Super E carburetor, you can check out this video right here. This is my common man tuning guide for the S&S Super E carburetor. No dynos, no fancy tools, just something for guys like you and me who don't have all the fancy equipment to be able to get our bikes running acceptably. Now that you've got your carburetor either removed or drained, we're ready to move on to the next step. Step 4 in the winterization process is to remove your battery. Batteries hate cold weather. So leaving a bike with a battery in it that is not hooked up to a tender in a cold garage is just about the worst thing you can do for a fairly expensive part of your bike. So when it's time to winterize, you always want to remove the battery from the bike and place that battery somewhere warm. I place my battery in my basement, and I'll roll in a shot right here. You can see with that battery hooked up to a tender. This just keeps the battery at a good, healthy charging level so that come springtime, it's ready to go right back into the bike. These tenders are super inexpensive, and I will put an Amazon affiliate link down below just so you guys know. That's basically something you buy on Amazon. It costs you nothing extra, but I earn a couple of cents from that purchase if you use the links down in the description. So please do use those links. It's a free way for you to support this channel so that I can keep making these free maintenance and how-to videos for you guys. Step 5 in the winterization process is going to be to lubricate your chain. Now, this might seem a little strange to you because you're thinking, well, I'm not going to be riding the bike, so why would I need to lube the chain? And the answer is that most chains are made of mild steel with some sort of coating on it. But as they run over those sprockets, sometimes that coating wears away, and it's not at all uncommon for a chain that's exposed to cold and moisture to rust up as it sits over the winter. So a fresh coat of lubricant on that chain before you store the bike for the winter is a great way to prevent against that. So as you can see here, I've got the rear wheel elevated and I'm just spinning that chain, spraying some lube onto that chain itself, and then I'm going back with a clean cloth, wiping off any excess lube that's on there so it doesn't make a big mess. Next step in our winterization process is one that you might be very surprised to hear me talk about because I have been historically terrible about this particular aspect of maintenance. I did start this YouTube channel to help you guys learn the basics, but I'm not claiming that I've been perfect with mine for the entire time I've been a bike owner. So this next step is going to be to clean our motorcycle. A lot of grime and gunk builds up on these bikes as we ride them over the summer, especially up here in New England where you're kicking salt up onto it in the beginning of the riding season. So what you're going to want for this step is some of this stuff right here. This is engine degreaser. Also got this from my local parts store, also less than $10, and a can will last you a very long time. As you can see in this clip right here, I'm going to spray this onto the grimiest, grossest areas of the bike, and I'm just going to leave it on there for about 10 minutes on this first application. And then as you can see in this clip, I'm just going to come back with a rag and just clean all of that gunk and grime off of the bike. Now this first round, there is a ton of gunk. You can see on this rag right here, it is absolutely disgusting. I have a bad habit of not maintaining my bike's cleanliness throughout the season, but I do think it's important to do it here at the end of the season. Now that you've got the majority of it off, I like to go back a second time, spray it all over again, and now do like more of a deep scrub. You could even use a nylon brush like you see here to really scrub those cases, get all that gunk off of your bike so that it's not just freezing and solidifying to the engine and all the other parts while it sits for the winter. Now, for most people building a chopper, that engine degreaser is about all the cleaning you're going to need or want to do. But if you have a really nice coat of paint on the bike, or you just really want to treat your baby right, as they say, you could pick up a can of this. This is called turtle wax. It's just a wax that can be applied over your paint. And essentially what this does is it just protects your paint a little more while it's sitting in your garage. How necessary this step is, I can't really say. I'm not a paint guy, I'm not a detail guy, but being that a chopper tank is so small, it just seems like a no-brainer to hit it with a coat of wax before you close it up for the season, because even if it makes that small little impact on keeping your paint looking fresh, I would rather do it than not do it, and it only takes about 30 seconds. The way it works, as you can see in this clip right here, you dip this sponge into the wax, and then you just, in small circular motions, apply the wax to the entire gas tank. Give it about 5 or 10 minutes to dry. It'll kind of dry as like a dull, matte color, and then just come back with a clean cloth, give it a buff, and you are all done. We are getting very close to the end of the list, guys, so don't worry. The next step in our process here is not really a step you do now and then leave for the rest of the season. It's more of something you want to do periodically, and that is to rotate your tires. Now, it's not like a car where you're like switching them on the placement that they go on the bike. You have a front and you have a rear. But if you leave this bike sitting for 5 months, and the tires never move, you can develop flat spots on those tires because all of the weight is pushing down on that one section of tire for such a long time. So periodically, if you're leaving your bike sitting on the wheels, you want to make sure that every once in a while you roll that bike back a couple feet, and then maybe a week later come and roll it back another couple feet and just move it around so that you're not getting any flat spots. One way you can avoid this entirely, if you don't like the idea of having to move it every once in a while, is to do what I'm doing in this clip here, and that's just put the bike up on a jack so that the pressure is not actually on the tires. This way, there's no extra moving you have to do. The bike is elevated, the tires are protected, and you are done for the season. The next step in winterizing our bike is to cover your motorcycle. If you're anything like me, you probably use your garage for a lot of different things throughout the winter season, and I know that I am always doing some sort of home renovation project or using my garage to clean a lawnmower, fix a snowblower. There's stuff flying everywhere, and a lot of it can end up on your motorcycle. So I like to throw a cover over my bike when I'm not using it. This is a super, super cheap, it's almost like a cheesecloth cover. I think a buddy gave me this cover. I'm not even sure how I came to own it anymore, but I will put a link to some of the top rated covers on Amazon if you wanted to get something more substantial than this cover here. But for me, this one does seem to do it. You don't have to spend crazy money on this sort of thing. You're pretty much just looking to protect it from any debris that might otherwise fall on it. The final step in your winterization journey is to check out this playlist right here with every how-to video here on the Grease's Garage YouTube channel. If there is a maintenance project you have been waiting to do on your bike, winter is the perfect time to do it because you are not tempted to go ride that bike instead of doing those tasks that you know you should be doing. So check out that playlist there. Thanks for watching Grease's Garage, and I'll catch you guys next week.